Ladies and gentlemen, we all know the Hallyu wave or Korean K-pop culture phenomenon has nearly 90 million fans worldwide. At the heart of it is K-pop, which plays a major role in the rising prominence of South Korean pop culture globally thanks to its intercreate performance going from a catchy beat to choreography to high production value. Ladies and gentlemen, as a huge industry watched by many pairs of eyes, K-pop should be more humanized and less manufactured. Showing struggle shouldn't be a sign of weakness, as idols are human as the rest of us. Transparency may even be able to encourage people suffering from mental illness to seek help themselves. Here coming to my argument, like the opening side, government side of the house already said before about the Korean beauty standards. But here my argument, why the Korean beauty standards impacting someone life that much and what the urgency to aggressively oppose the K-pop industry as a feminist because of this reason. Ladies and gentlemen, Korean beauty standards lead into something worse. Even one of the members of BDSRM gave a speech to a crowd of fans during their tour and stated how he viewed himself were as less because of his dark skin. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a striking statement to me because he's only slightly tan in complexion. Yet his slightly tan skin was enough to make him feel unworthy. This is a clear statement to the rigid Korean beauty standards that many celebrities and Korean society at large are forced to adhere to. In fact, it is so common for Korean artists to undergo plastic surgery before their debut if their natural looks do not to fit into the Korean beauty model. Ladies and gentlemen, porcelain pale skin double lid with large V-shaped jaws. This is Korean beauty style, but where did it come from? The preference for fair skin can be traced to back in being a symbol of status. Korea's strict and sometimes coarsening beauty standards are often attributed to lookism is a term defined as a discrimination or prejudice based on physical appearance that usually doesn't fit societal notion of beauty. The societal pressure to look beautiful and above normal foster and environment can be dangerous, both physically and mentally. In 2007, we know that it was found that in South Korea, adults a higher weight status often lead to more depressive symptoms. The reason for this result were related to concern about being overweight and fearing body-related stigma. For example, ladies and gentlemen, this person is named Alice is not skinny nor is she anywhere near obese. She has a regular figure that will be common in the real world, which make her an anomaly in the music industry where young white female stars are still expected to look a certain way, thin, tall, and lazy. Being judged by our body is a very real thing for a woman, everyone, not just celebrities. And it doesn't solely affect those who are overweight. One can be criticized for myriad other reasons being too thin, too tall, too short, too unshapely, too full figure, having small breasts, or conversely having large breasts, you get the drift. Ladies and gentlemen, it gets to a point where we realize that you cannot please anyone, but who say you have to? Your body is yours and your responsibility is to keep it healthy right at the very first place. Everything else, when you put things into perspective, is really secondary. Body positivity is first and foremost about what you feel and think about your body. And the K-pop industry makes something in a figure loudly people who wants beyond their comfort zone. Ladies and gentlemen, coming into my second argument, why we should aggressively oppose the K-pop industry because the media consumption is what impacts Korean beauty standard the most. Because ladies and gentlemen, images from advertisement, movies, television, magazines to music videos perpetuate the model of Korean beauty. Celebrities undergo cosmetic surgery and disturbing diets to maintain the narrow Korean beauty standard. When you are constantly bombarded with a very specific look and told this is what is considered beautiful and acceptable, it creates the desire to belong. You then transform yourself into a person that fits the societal notion of beauty. These restrictive ideals of beauty can become a chokehold that leads to self-hatred, depression, and eating disorder. And ladies and gentlemen, here's come to my last argument. Why K-pop industry impacting and giving a bad example to their fans? Because ladies and gentlemen, the stigma surrounding mental health in South Korea almost, for example, like former 20 member Park Bom's carrier 2 after she was discovered trying to smuggle amphetamines, which is illegal in South Korea, by hiding it as a jelly and mailing it to her grandmother to the US. Why she's doing this? Because she's feeling the pressure in K-pop Korean industry and the beauty standard itself. Though she was able to provide medical proof that the amphetamine was used for an ongoing psychological treatment due to a childhood trauma, many people think that it was only an excuse for her drug problem because her low self-esteem, self-image, and something else like that. The severe backlash led to her long hiatus until the dismemberment of 20. Some netizens still think that her scandal was the cause of her dismemberment. Ladies and gentlemen, there are several other cases of idol having public breakdowns, but some netizens brush it off and only focus on whether or not they were able to carry on with their performance. But ladies and gentlemen, some idols have opened up about their mental struggles despite the prejudice in K-pop industry. For example, Block B Spark Kyung, for example, she said that having opened up in an interview with BBC Korea about how hard it was for celebrities, for K-pop industry to deal with their emotion, as they didn't have any opportunities to express their feelings and that their job required them to hide their emotion. Ladies and gentlemen, changing the stigma surrounding mental health is hard, but we can certainly start from ourselves, be kind to celebrity, not really aggressively supporting something that not really good for us, and show them that you will support them through their hardship, raise awareness of issues surrounding mental health, and educate other fans if they started to demand them for their own struggles. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if we are not stopping this aggressively opposed to the K-pop industry, ladies and gentlemen, the bad impact is really, really big towards the fans worldwide. And I think that's all the point from me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the summary and thanks why our proposal of government side of the House are more in line and more applicable in opposition than opposition side of the House. First, government side already say about how K-pop trend is being role model for everyone in society. It can now be counted as a new beauty standard. Beauty standards such as being thin, having a light skin color, and good skin quality can be seen in every K-pop artist, which in this era is what our new generation try to achieve. As the government side already mentioned that the standard resulted in a low self-image to the individual who failed to achieve the standard. Standard that an idol shall have a calm image to be a perfect woman are not valid because in reality, women can be fierce, they can be sporty, they can be whatever they want to be. We shall know that not only beauty is valuable, but the brain is also valuable. We found that this issue is more makes sense and applicable in all citizens as how the feminist government noticed there is a lot of problem born from this new trend. In the terms of patience, makeup, fashion, it becomes a role model for everyone in the world. And you cannot deny that within the existence of this K-pop industry, as a trends create a space for people to reflect on them. What does it mean? This means that there is a certain standard that we need to fulfill, especially when we as women, there's a certain standard because currently this is the trends we need to follow and everyone relies on this. Why is this problematic? We think that women are different, right? Everyone has their own identity. Everyone has their own uniqueness. Within the nexus of this industry, are only going to set certain standards. Meanwhile, as individuals, we have to love ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we like to state that we don't support this trend and the K-pop industry. Opposition said that stated they just try to give another choice of beauty standard and claim it as a diversity. But we can see how this pressure of beauty standard creates pressure on a woman and make them feel insecure and not confident enough. Job corporation also have standard and believe that having a good body is profitable for the company itself. Ladies and gentlemen, as the government also say that how people strive to fit in the K-pop trends by trying a lot of procedures such as skin bleaching, unhealthy diet resulting anorexia, and other kind of sickness, and also a plastic surgery due to how low they see their self compared to the ideal they see in the media. Second, I would also like to mention the example of from the opposite side is not valid because the opposition also concede that the fact that feminist movement aim for freeing women or gender in general in terms of their self-agency expression and self-actualizations, but that opposite fails to tell us is that in the case of beauty standard there is a spectrum why something can be perceived and acceptable and what is not. Why opposing does not matter in the status quo, the issue of feminists and why the nature K-pop industry cannot entails the need of these people to still fulfill to a beauty standard. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposite teams themselves say that the K-pop trend is giving a new standard. By this, they approve that the K-pop making a new stereotype of how an idol should look like: thin body, light skin, etc. The argument that we can highlight from the opposite side is not reliable in this motion because we know that K-pop industry are claiming to create more innovative standards compared to those from Western Hollywood. They claim that there are more various type of beauty standard while we stand that beauty is not bound by any standard. In fact, you can also have a fashionable lifestyle despite the fact that you may not fulfill the specific beauty standard. Lastly, I would like to point out that the feminist movement has in their agenda to convince humans that they can be their own beautiful, they can be thick, they can be thin, short, tall, black, white, etc. without comparing themselves with others. However, when you're talking about beauty standard or the other ways of showing yourself, expression and actualization defined is going to be influenced by the trend and lifestyle in the current status quo. It's a difference because in the previous era, the influence coming from the Western or Hollywood or coming from the local culture. And now there is another additional standard that might be having a bad impact to their own self. I think that's all I like to point out. Thank you.